right, good evening, everyone. Glad you could join us tonight for PeenTrain versus KittyLyra. We're here, I believe it's the semifinals now, isn't it, Dark Alexander?
I think this is quarters still. We've got the racers tonight competing for the privilege of playing against Octo in the semifinals. Our
I
other
couldn't
group,
help
we've
myself.
got competing against competing for the rights to face off against Oxwis. So we've still got a lot of good Earthbound ahead of us. Hope everybody's excited for tonight.
Yeah, I got a little ahead of myself there. We're not quite that far yet. There's still plenty Boogie goodness to go. So here we are, starting off yet again. Sleepy Onet, about to get hit by a meteorite. We got to go check it out. What do you think runners will be getting into tonight, Dark Alexander? What is this Boogie tent I've heard about?
The Boogey Tent is a lovely partial game category of Earthbound. It will be about the first 30% of the game. We're going to be racing from the start all the way up to our final boss of the category, the notorious Boogie Tent. The race will end when they pick up the jar of fly honey. But this is a non-manipulated run, so all of the randomness that Earthbound has to offer is going to be on full display tonight. We'll see some stuttering, some smashes, hopefully no gruesome deaths at the hands of rowdy animals, and a nice tight race to the end.
Yeah, both of our racers tonight are extremely good. So looking forward to a good match. Here we have our runners grabbing the cracked bat. Well, you do have to grab the cracked bat. You don't technically have to equip it, but it's much slower if you don't do so. So no reason not to grab it and equip it right away. Although you can put it off for a little bit.
Climbing up the hill in our pajamas, gonna take a wander by the cops here and go see what the big boom crash was outside our window, waking us up in the middle of the evening. No spawns to worry about here, just walking, but you will see plenty of movement tech already. Lots of sliding and gliding off the terrain to optimize our pathing here. Stop
Yep.
by and chat with Pokey, the jerk neighbor next door. And then we're gonna head back and go back to sleep. Easy enough. Fun game.
It's so easy right now, and all you have to worry about is enemy number 3 in Earthbound getting hung up on terrain. Number 1, of course, being the RNG. There being a RPG, there's plenty of RNG to be had throughout the run, so we'll see what RNG deals us tonight. As Ukoi said, nothing ever goes wrong in this game. Everything goes perfect.
Yes, very predictable. Almost scripted.
I know the first boss. I mean, you don't even have any agency in that fight. It's on rails. All you can do is hit the auto fight and just hit the button. I mean, what could be easier than that? Our racer is pretty synced up here. Again, ready to head outside where things get moderately more dangerous. We have snakes, we got angry crows, and runaway dogs. Ideally, we won't run into any of them as we head back up the hill to the meteorite to find Picky. But we'll see what's in store for the runners when they get out.
Runners are so synced, even Mom is moving the same.
Maybe they're on the same seed somehow.
All right, we're out of our jammies. We've got Pokey to join us. We're going to take one quick phone call here from Dad before we head out into the nighttime, see what the animals have in store for us. We do have a couple of guaranteed spawns right outside the door, so hopefully they're in a spot where we can get around them, but we will wait to see what happens.
We got
Ooh, what a
the
butterfly.
dog. Peen has a crow. Easy to get past them. Easy to get them hung up on terrain. The crow has a swooping motion. It's fairly easy for it to get caught up on terrain. Also, it can decide to fly away from you for whatever reason. If we run into any snakes, we may see some cool movement tech in Earthbound called stutter stepping, where you tap on the directional button really fast. Some enemies only detect movement on certain frames, so if you're not moving on those frames, they won't move toward you.
Very key technique to be able to get through this game quickly. Knowing which enemies you can stutter past, which ones you have to despawn, can save you a whole lot of time throughout the game.
Yeah, the very movement patterns of the enemies keep things pretty interesting in the overworld. Ness himself moves pretty slow, so he is typically slower than most enemies on the field. But due to the way that certain enemies move, you can skip around them. Also helped out by the skip sandwich, which we'll likely see our runners buy later on in the game, which increases our overworld speed and allows us to avoid encounters in certain situations.
I know a good sandwich tends to make me move faster.
Oh, that's just like my kid. He eats food and suddenly he's hyper for the next half hour.
Oh, absolutely. We're post Halloween now, and I'm finding out all about that.
Oh well. Yeah, Candy does. Candy does that. My kid is like any food you give him, he's like bouncing off the walls afterwards.
On our way back down the hill here, the spawns are turned off for the walk back. They're going to grab the bread roll out of the package here for a little extra healing items to help us out for the next couple of fights. But going into our first boss battle with Starman Jr., this is a scripted fight, so we're going to be seeing hopefully just good RNG, but there's really not a whole lot we can do about this boss battle. The best we can hope for is that Buzz is going to come out swinging for the fences, and Starman's going to have freezes and guards in store. The fire will hit all of the different kids, so it's going to generate a text box for each one that gets hit. So that's going to slow things down a little bit, but optimally we'll see a 2-cycle fight here.
That's correct. Buzz. Every odd turn, he picks up a second shield for every kid, and on every even turn, he attacks with either a normal attack or a strong hit. If you want to see those strong hits, they'll do over 100 damage unless Junior is guarding. So we don't want to see guards on those turns, and we want to see Buzz really charge forward here.
72 for both attacks for Peen. I think it was a 70 for Lyra there.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, Buzz can keep you in this fight for a while. Like I mentioned before, not much you can do about it, but just hit all those buttons to get the text moving.
Looks like Peen is out first. She's going to get out just under 8 minutes. Lyra getting a low roll from Buzz there out of that second attack there. So this is going to go for another cycle. Anywhere from 30 to 150, I believe Buzz can hit for. So it's really up in the air. 200 hit points we got to get through. And a big charge forward to get Lyra out of that one.
Yep, nothing like getting overkill on that final hit that you didn't need. But we'll have a bit of story here while we get set up for the next portion of Earthbound. We're heading down to the arcade to put the local punks in their place. On our way down, we'll stop by our good friend in the clubhouse, and he'll give us his very nice autographed hat, which we'll turn around and sell for $99 to buy all the equipment we need to roll over the sharks. Another thing to keep in mind is Buzz went to the Owl School for exposition, so he will try and trick you into listening to a story again, so don't fall for his lies. Make sure you say no. Say yes and then say no. So he's pretty tricky like that.
Yep, that can be a nasty loop to get stuck in if you accidentally pick the wrong choice on the second one. Lose track of things and just get your way mashing through the text over and over again. It can cost you a lot of time.
Yep, both confirm and cancel, which confirm is, I believe, A button and L button, while cancel is B button and select button. So depending on how you're hitting those buttons, just gotta make sure you're hitting the right ones at the right time. Earthbound's actually kind of interesting in that there's a couple of yes/no choices throughout the game that can result in different length text boxes for you to mash through.
Peen getting through the zoo pretty quickly there, just one dog spawn. Lyra also running into a dog here.
Yep, second dog, but also easy to get caught up on the foliage. Get our obligatory trash burger here. Very delicious. Must have had pickles, maybe that's why it was thrown out. So after the shopping here, our racers will head to the left and down toward the arcade. This is initially looks like a bit of weird movement. The arcade directly below you might be a little faster to head to the right instead, but the way we move to the left and down allows us to avoid triggering spawns around the arcade, which can be pretty heavy with spawn plates. So we get a nice clean entryway here. You only want to take 3 fights. Technically, I guess there's probably a way to avoid the Pogopunk that moves toward you inside the arcade. I don't know how feasible that is, but we do fight this optional guy out here, and all the Pogopunks drop hamburgers 100% of the time, and Ness really loves his burgers.
Yeah, the Manip route does manage to get the second Pogo to duck out of the way so you can sneak by, but we need the healing items for the next couple of fights just for safety's sake.
And more HP doesn't hurt either, because Frank, he does.
Yep, Frank is an angry fellow. Lyra chomping down that bread roll there. Max the hit points back out. Make sure we get through the Pogo safely. The Yes Man Jr. fight is pretty tame after the 2 Pogos. We've got the levels and the extra offense and hit points to work with, but do want to make sure we go into Frank with maxed out health.
Yep, Frank is a weak hit, a strong hit, and he can also say nasty things at you. We really want him to say those nasty things because he's not hitting us in that case. After every hit, we do need to heal up because his strong hits do over 20 damage to us, and that's somewhere around half our HP.
Frank is just brandishing all over the place for PeenTrain.
Yep, add a PSI, and rely on the burgers. So Earthbound is somewhat unique in that there's both an accuracy and an invasion check before the bash actually hits.
Lyra able to mash that one out.
Yeah. And once you get below 22 HP, it gets really difficult to mash at those heals. But everybody made it through. Frankie Stein is much easier. Every odd turn, it wastes a turn, and then it either does a weak or strong hit. These are the level up we get after Frank. We have enough PP for another life up. So typically this fight's much easier unless you had a really, really bad Frank and you only had the 1 heal.
Peen gonna be the first one through Frankie Stein with 1337.
Yep, very good all around. Lyra out of the fight as well, sub 14, so both racers still very much in it. There's plenty of fights, plenty of RNG left to go. In particular, Giant Step is, well, pretty much anything solo Ness is pretty difficult, but Giant Step I think can be pretty rough. definitely one of the hardest boss fights out there.
Yes, this next session is going to be our only grinding of the run. Before getting into the next boss fight, we do need to get ourselves up to level 8 so we can get our first offensive psychic ability. We are going to be hopefully grinding out an exact number of 22 slugs to get ourselves to that point. We will very likely be seeing some fine stutter stepping from both runners in the cave. All of the enemies in the next section are stutterable. So there's a few different techniques that we can see for getting the preferred grind. So we'll see what each of the runners chooses to do. Does need to make a pit stop here at Mayor Perkle to get the key to unlock the shack, and we're going to be also stopping to grab some extra money to fill our backpack full of burgers before the fight, because this can be very, very dangerous.
Yep, there is a strat called Burgerless where you just throw luck to the wind, don't buy burgers, and just hope everything works out. That is something you likely only do either in you're trying to do like world record attempts, or you're trying to catch up to to the racer ahead of you. You've had a bad ONAT so far. But I don't expect any of our runners in the current state to be skipping burgers.
Yep, unless you've got your heart set on like a 103 or better, the burgerless strats are definitely risky.
Yep, our racers here will need to defeat 22 slugs in order to reach level 8. Typically how that's done is on the lower, as well as I think on the mid floors, you can run into 4 packs, or I should say, packs of 4 slugs each. But on the top floor you can run into a 6-pack of slugs. Sometimes they get divided up like you see here. Some of them can spawn kind of in between levels, so there's only 3 right here. But if you count correctly, you can get exact slugs, although it is more risky to head up to the third level here in Giant Step, as Black Antoids, which have the same overworld sprite as these slugs, are considerably more dangerous. Oh, okay, there was that other one right there. Just didn't want to join in. I just wanted to watch.
With the enemies up on the cliff there, the pathing can get kind of screwed up, and there is a possibility you can single out the slugs here for an instant win fight.
Yep,
It is Lyra's on the first 4.
Another thing with Giant Step is because enemies can spawn on the different levels, if you get a lot of slugs or ants off screen, it can lag out the game and make your stuttering much more difficult to do. So it's just something you have to be aware of as you make your way through.
We got 8 and 4. Peen's trying to get the mouse stuck here on the cliff side. Looks like that setup is going to be okay. And then just going to be moving back and forth across this little rock as an indicator of where the game is going to spawn another set of enemies on the left side there. With the mouse stuck on the cliff, it will not spawn any other mice on that spawn plate, so we can try to quickly spawn slugs, but quickly is going to be defined by Earthbound today.
Our racers so far seemingly getting pretty good luck on spawns so far.
That's 12 down for Peen. Lyra is at, this is going to be number 12 here. Another quick 4-pack for Peen as well. That'll make 16, and she's probably going to work her way up to the 3rd floor for that 6-pack. Tends to be the typical strat there.
It's definitely the experience strat. Personally, I go all 4 packs. Oh,
unfortunate.
Unfortunately, turned around at the wrong second and got back attacked by all these slugs. While the slugs aren't very dangerous, if they are left in battle for too long, either Ness decides he wants to whiff these tiny slugs, or you end up having a six-pack, which can result in taking long enough that the slugs will regain concentration and they can use PSI, namely hypnosis, and putting Ness to sleep. While they're not going to do a lot of damage, it is going to waste time. Actually, I think they both got that 4-pack right before the rope there and are heading up for the 6-pack.
Yeah, it's very convenient spawn there. Peen only had to do a couple of respawns there to get a slug pack to spawn. Only got 5 on this one, so I'll have to grab that last one wherever it's hiding. Can be tricky. It's like you said, the Antoids have the same sprite, so we're not really sure which one's going to be which.
Yep, is that one an ant or a slug? Place your bets. It was an ant. Actually, it was 2 of them.
Oh no!
That's the other danger, is they can be on top of each other. Black Cat Twins, as you see here, do a lot more damage and they can also call for help. Yes, the brackets are on Discord in the general EBSS thread. At the top it says Boogey% brackets, and it has a link to challenge.com where the bracket is being hosted.
Thank you for the link there, Uko.
Or you could do that. So a little faster. Peen deciding to bash out these ants. KittyLyra takes the lead here, having gotten a 6-pack. Peen gets a cookie for her troubles.
Pulling slightly ahead. Did not see the offense rolls for Lyra. If you get 24 or better, you do have the instant win on a single Antoid there, but most runners will just choose to stutter their way past if the opportunity lends itself. Lyra's going to be the first one here into Titanic Ant. We'll see what comes of this fight. We're going to be starting off with a Rockin'. The 2 Antoids behind Titanic Ant there are just going to heal, so we need to get them out of the way first. Did not work on the first Antoid. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's extremely rare. The ants only have like 3 speed, but the only thing they can do is life up, so you really need to get them out.
Yeah, that's
unfortunately Rockin' can miss based on your Ness's speed versus the enemy speed. But thankfully, Lyra did not get drained out of the second Rockin' needed to take out the slug. Or, not slug, ant. Bug.
It looks like Peen got magneted out of the second Rockin' there, so both having kind of a rocky start to the fight.
Yeah, Lyra also had a shield up pretty much right away. Peen now has a shield up. I don't know who's closer to finishing, but
yep, I think they're about even at this point. The magnets at this point are a dead turn for Ant, so we want to see more of those. Because as we're seeing, Ant hits very, very hard. Just like Frank, we're going to want to be healing between each attack to keep ourselves safe.
Yep, Ant switches between 2 different scripts. I don't know all the details, but his weak hit is on one script and the strong hit's on a different script. So if you know your enemy AI very well, you can kind of figure out which part of the script you're on and base your actions on that.
Oh no, and a miss. Alright, Peen makes it through by the skin of her teeth. I believe used all of her burgers in that fight.
So this will be interesting to see if any of our racers here goes to buy more burgers. So our racers are allowed to watch their opponent here. So Peen, being slightly behind, can make decisions based on what KittyLyra decides to do. So if Lyra decides to skip burgers, Peen may have some pressure to also skip burgers going into the cop fight. Or may decide to take that time to buy more burgers and make the cop gauntlet safer. Cop gauntlet is a 5 fights in a row, 4 against the regular cops and against the boss cop. It is pretty difficult, so I would not recommend going in without any burgers, but our racers may feel differently.
I missed that, so it was actually a miss menu. I thought it was a magnet that ate the psychic points there. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, very nice that both runners made it through Titanic Ant. That can be just a brutal stopping point for any racer. Many PB attempts have stopped right here at Giant Step.
Yeah, the ant can also smash you, even as early as turn 1. And if ant smashes you, it's almost always a GG. You can menu if you have a high enough HP, you can menu extremely quickly to get through. Or if you already had a heal queued up, you're pretty good to go. But KittyLyra does not stop for burgers. I don't think Peen will now, or will not stop for burgers either. So we'll see what happens in the Cop Gauntlet. This is the last thing we need to do before getting out of Onet.
He's going for it. This is the quarterfinals after all. The stops are being pulled out.
Yep, in the brackets, having a good average time, you might want to perform safety strats even if you're behind, just so you can get a better seed. But here, winner takes all.
Starting off a crushing chop from the cops for Lyra there. Again, we've got weak and strong attacks. There is a small chance that a cop can drop a burger too. I believe it's 1 in 8, but we don't want to be counting on that one. Ooh, and a nice smash for Peen right out the gate.
Yep, they're
Getting through
pretty
that
much
fight very fast.
Lyra getting the burger. I guess between both of our runners, we have 8 fights, so we should see on average 1 burger drop. PeenTrain also getting out of the second fight much quicker. So typically for the boss, racers will try and reserve at least another
smash.
As I was saying, typically racers will try and save 20 PP to use 2 Rockins on Captain Strong. With only 140 HP, 2 Rockins have a pretty good chance of taking him out. Lyra with the smash back. Very nice. So that's a way to...
From the Rockin' there.
Yeah, but you can also drop a Rockin' on this last cop in the hopes of getting through him like really quick. Lyra's used some PP on healing, so may not go that route, but gets a smash anyway to exit the fight. Being ate her burger, very good that she did so, because Captain Strong was smashed on that turn. Is looks like going to probably bash until in a reliable rockin' range here. 103, that'll be enough.
140 hit points, not a ton for Strong. The Rockin', 103 for Lyra as well. Go ahead and double heal just to be on the safe side there. Maybe a triple heal even.
Well,
let's hope the Rockin' hits.
It does.
Here we go.
Lyra's out. Alright, both our racers out. Sub 28. That's extremely good. Being even faster than that, I did not see what time she ended it on. But it's still anyone's game. Very exciting match so far.
Yep, seeing both racers escape Onet without a death is a great way to start the evening. Grabbing the freebie burger on the way down to Tucson. Watching out for the shroom spawns. Oh, there's a sneaky one there hiding behind the tree. Good eye from Peen.
Yeah, these mushrooms can cause a status called Mashroomize, which is like confusion, but it can also mess up your overworld movement as well. So it's really annoying. You do get $50 if you get it removed at a hospital or a mushroom girl along the way. But moving around, even with your controls all messed up, is still pretty annoying. So ideally, you want to avoid those mushrooms at all costs.
Racer stopping here at the department store to grab big stack full of cash. I'm gonna stop and make a save for a death warp coming up here after the next round of boss fights. Do need to do a few more story triggers here. We gotta stop and visit our friend Apple Kid, invest in the inventions, and give him a snack on our way through town. Then we're gonna head off into Peaceful Rest Valley, another very dangerous segment.
Yep.
Helpful butterfly.
Yep. After strong, typically most racers are low on PP, so you really want to keep an eye out for those butterflies and grab any that you can. Especially if you end up in a fight, you really want some PP to throw out some rockets to end it quickly. If you happen to be unable to run away, or if you don't want to risk running away for multiple turns and just try and end it right away. Lyra's still on 1 HP and 0 PP. Really just hanging on by a thread. Really wanting to see some butterflies over there on her end, so you can life up and get out of the danger zone.
There is a decent chance to see butterflies in a few different places here in Tucson. Oh, we got a hippie sighting.
No. Oh! Got stuck on the foliage. Here comes the hippie out of the nowhere.
Oh, it manages to escape. The hippie was distracted by the ruler.
Oh man, he just came up on her and showed him off his ruler? Man, you just don't do that to anyone on the street, you know? Not even going for that butterfly. Just heading on. Man. Well, Lyra is still in it. Not is now caught up to Peen. On the same screen, at least. Peen just exiting.
The spawns in this cave can be very, very frustrating. The spawns outside of the cave can be even more dangerous. Very fast, very difficult to get away from. So hopefully we're going to just not fight any of them.
Yeah, they have a really annoying swooping pattern. Even worse than the crows. It seems to be more accurate than the crows. They're very good at getting around terrain rather than getting stuck on terrain. And they have by far the highest speed, meaning it's really hard to hit them, whether it's with your bat or with your rocket or even to run away. So if you can avoid fighting them, do so. Alright, our runners are trading positions based on enemy spawns. Oh, it's still extremely close.
Yep, the cave spawn's not treating Peen quite as well as Lyra here. Is able to get through just behind. It's about a 10-second difference between the two racers, so very nice. The Shrooms here, however, playing gatekeeper, is going to go ahead and grab that butterfly. Nice... Very good call.
Yeah, with 1 HP and 0 PP, you really need something. Yeah, it can be a little close. Enemies can hide behind even these small trees. I've had a hippie come out of nowhere and tag me.
Yeah, fortunately, the Shrooms, the aggro radius on those is pretty tight, but once they're on you, they're after you.
Yep, Peen is taking the time to buy a skip sandwich. Mentioned earlier, this increases your overworld movement. PRV is a very narrow area with plenty of spawn plates. You can find yourself pincered very easily. And sometimes the best way to get through is just to run past all your problems. So even just one skip sandwich here is a lot of very good safety nets in PRV. Or elsewhere, if you happen to not need it, you can use it somewhere else, whether in the overworld or to help facilitate a death warp later on after the Carpenter fight in Happy Village.
Another butterfly for Lyra, so both of our racers have got 2 so far.
Yep, Lyra's probably maxed out on PP now. I think Peen is close, if not there. Don't remember how many she had.
Oh, and those spawns were just far enough into the cave that Peen was able to despawn them there without having to dip back through the door.
Yeah, the door transitions are pretty slow. Even slower if you're going between areas that have different music. So, but sometimes that's all you can do, really. Enemies can spawn really close to doors, even on top of you in some cases. Yep, see that UFO is just making its way down right through all those narrow passages. So, gotta be on the watch out for them.
Always amazes me how easily they are able to get through those. You would never think they'd be able to.
Yeah, there's been a couple of races where I assume the racers thought they were safe from the UFOs, and they were just able to get around the craziest places and get a tag on you.
This plateau section here of Peaceful Rest Valley is probably the most frustrating of all of it. There's just so many places you can get hung up and potentially get pincered by the spawns there. Both racers making it through it pretty well. Peen does not need that butterfly at this point. It just costs extra time, and Lyra getting hung up by a spinning robo there at the bridge. So once again, we are just neck and neck.
Yep, you can see our racers do some very specific movement to lower the to either avoid or lower the chances of various spawn plates activating. And Lyra makes it through without a fight. PeenTrain narrowly avoiding the tree.
What a move.
Lyra makes it through with her Ori points intact, as does Peen. Yep. What I've noticed from a couple runners now is at the end of PRV, they'll typically use a skip sandwich if they haven't used it before. There can be some UFOs or diamonds that spawns just south of the cave entrance there, and being fast can really help you get through there before you get tagged. We're going to be doing some shopping here. Get a new bat, get a new hat. You really want the offense and defense for this section. Getting some food items as well. You are really helpful against the next boss fight. You really want to use all your PP for rocking.
Lyra getting hung up by some cultists here. Not quite enough room to despawn. Do not want to get into any of those fights that we don't need to. Because of the shack fight coming up, the cultists are scripted fights. We are not able to run away from them. Just like the Antoids, they can also call for help, so those fights can drag on forever. And they can do a lot more damage, so best to just avoid it altogether.
Yeah, that cave right there, they can spawn on top of you, although it does seem kind of rare, but you really need to be careful. As much as you can, because taking extra cold fights is just way too dangerous. There's a huge risk in facing them. Ideally, you knock them out in one rock-in use, but you really need on the high end. You need like
92 is just short, yeah.
But the main thing is they can call for help, and unlike the ants, you can't run away from them. So, oh no, it didn't work. Didn't work on two of them.
Gross.
Well, thankfully, the call for help failed. Lyra's out though. Now we're gonna have to try and hit this bird with a bat. Okay. It's really hard to hit a bird with a bat.
Nice.
I don't think it stole any of Peen's food either.
Yep, the crows are sneaky like that. They are quite fast, so it's not super uncommon for the rockin' to miss, but missing on the cultist is quite frustrating.
Yeah, you really need to pile the damage on them before they call for help.
Banana.
Yeah, but banana's a nice low HP healing item. Oh. Cultist in the way. Thankfully, Janet here in front of the door did not body block us, so we're pretty well synced up again. There's also two food items here. You can grab a croissant in the lower right, and the skip sandwiches in that kind of middle chest right there. You probably don't necessarily need the skip sandwich right now, but
Ooh, a smash for Peen.
Man, Peen getting all the smashes before, on these single fights. taking the lead over Lyra. But the Card Painter fight is pretty variable, even if Card Painter himself is pretty scripted. He always leads off with a Crashing Boom Bang, which is Thunder Beta, more or less. Then he'll do... first thing he'll do is Life Up, and then when that turn rolls around again, he'll do PSI Shield and alternate between them, and on the third turn, he always does a physical attack.
One Reflect.
At 120, that's about as good as you can hope for. Unfortunately, we'll just heal it all back. So, unfortunately, Thunders only have 25% chance to hit Ness at all. And we really want to see the reflect.
Very fast. Peen is out of that one. Got one Reflect for Lyra, but it got healed back.
Lyra, unfortunately, using Rockin' on the wrong turn. And throws it right into the PSI shield. If I get the Crash and Boom Bang, that should do it. Carbainer's down. 6 HP plus whatever on the level up. In a very good position to get the Death Warp really quickly. Yep, 32 HP, that's a good amount. As you can see, KittyLyra used the low HP, low healing amount, only 6 HP on the skip sandwich. And also, you do get some bonus overroll movement here. Which is kind of nice. We'll see if she picks up the other skip sandwich. Decides not to do so. So the next part of the race will be taken on a mole who may or may not play rough. We want him to KO both of our children, so we Death Warp back to Tucson. We really don't want to cross PRV with Paula in tow. Just slower that way. We throw out all our defense items to facilitate the Death Warp, and we'll also throw out the teddy bear that Paula comes with, as it can redirect attacks toward it 50% of the time.
Little high five here in the cabin. We'll see who comes out victorious in tonight's wager.
Yep, the wager is based on, well, we're pretty close here. Typically, it's whoever starts the Death Warp first, that process. So, we'll see how quickly Peen can get through here.
So getting an intentional red swirl there to hopefully get a big swing from the mole. Does not do anything. The sizes up the situation and starts to feel strange, so we're going to use the 1 HP swing from Paula there to knock that one out.
A 4. A 5. And this will be 6. KittyLyra did get the faster Death Warp. The lower HP on Ness coming through handily there. Does need a bit more money to revive Paula though. So we have a bunch of errands here to do in Tucson. We need to pick up a backstage pass. We need to go see Paula's dad. We go talk to Everdread. The first Death Warp count was 6 Aerophone. Or, well, technically KittyLyra started after Peen, but had fewer turns, so finished earlier. So I'm not sure how we want to rank that versus Peen's 6-turn Death Warp.
Real slick maneuvering from PeenTrain there to avoid the villager.
I believe
KittyLyra died first by about a second.
And that was, I think someone said 2 turns. I was counting Peen, so she made it there first.
It was less than 5, we can say that for sure.
Yeah, our runners are extremely close, Eric. Even now, 44 minutes into Earthbound, our racers are neck and neck. Lyra having to take a wider route around to avoid that cop, but yeah, Lyra getting all the twos and spawns here.
It's a party around Berglund Park. Alright, airframe going back to the instant replay to decide the winners of tonight's bet. Got a right side theater for Peen, avoiding the spawn trigger of the Fuzzy Pickles man.
Yeah, Lyra also doing a right side. You can do the left side. You just walk up to the wall, pretty much, and schmooze on your way over. Sliding off the wall on the right is, I would probably say, more consistent. You might... There's a possibility, I think, on the left side, if you don't line up just right, you can still trigger the photo. But here's the Runaway 5.
Favorite dance emotes in chat.
Then afterwards, we get to take a bus to 3. So this is a good time if you need some water, grab a snack, anything like that. Got a couple minutes here before the action picks up again in the 3 graveyard.
Just about a 10-second difference between our racers. Kinda crazy. And a double right bus.
Yep, they know where that spawn trigger is. You can go left or on the bus if you're less confident in avoiding the photo trigger. It is a little longer, but both our runners are experienced players.
Alright, and anyone betting the over is the big winner for the evening. It has been decided.
Indeed. And just in time for the graveyard shift. We have to go gambling on whether we find some spooky ghosts or crazy trash cans. So in the graveyard, it's a short jaunt through, but there's still a lot of spawn triggers that could potentially be between us and the zombies we need to take a look at. Hopefully we won't run into a lot of different things. The trash cans themselves are proximity chasers, so they're not too dangerous, but the ghosts are. They're by far the fastest things in here, so we want to avoid them. The flies have the same swooping motion as we've seen other enemies have, and it can cause them to tag you. And they're also just small, too, so they can hide behind the trees or in other areas. Maybe you're not paying attention, but looks like both our runners make it through just fine. A bit of despawning. No problem. I like to say no problems here, but only if
Just a couple of problems.
only if Peen's ISP fixes itself. Alright, we're on to the Jeff journey. We got a couple of errands to run in the boarding school before we really get the show on the road.
Winters will be the great equalizer this evening.
And if not winners, then perhaps Boogey Tent itself. We shall see. Jeff's section is pretty short, but there's a... Again, we're starting off with a level 1 kid solo, so there's plenty that can go crazy here. Hopefully we can see some nice skips, and we'll have a cooperative monkey tonight, but who can say?
Cooperative Monkey was my nickname in college.
Oh, mine was T-Bone.
Nice.
Quite as interesting.
We'll meet up with the time waster Maxwell here. He's going to give us an obviously defective key to go and confuse us when we head into the locker room to get our much needed equipment. Do not want to be heading out into the cold of winters without some sort of defense and offense. Jeff does not have the psychic abilities. Yes, you gotta keep the ears warm.
You need a hat. You also need a pop gun. Not sure how that's useful, but maybe you can scare someone. And then once we grab our equipment, we'll head on out and grab a monkey and be on our way.
Tony putting us literally on his back to help us out over the gate. What a good friend.
Yep, on our way south, there's a couple enemies we can find. The crows and dogs, like we've seen before, but also goats, and we really want to fight goats. More likely, if there's a dog in our way, we'll try and fight it. There's a 50-50 chance it'll drop a bread roll for us. Always nice. It'll also give Jeff a level, and that makes the later portions a little more consistent. Did we get the green dog? Yes, we do.
We got the green dog.
Yep, very nicely. Jeff does instant win if you get the jump on a dog. Due to so the way the game calculates back attacks and all that is based on Ness's position relative to the enemy. as you may have noticed, we don't have Ness in our party here. So wherever he's at, relative to the dog, it resulted in the janky green swirl. We may see that a couple more times throughout this section.
Both of our runners did choose to ditch the spray can there, saving a little bit of text on the sleep there. Jeff will fix broken items overnight if he has enough IQ points. Oh, and getting walled
Come on,
by the
Tessie.
sightseer there.
Nope, our runner's synced up again here at Tessie, so
This is
get your
insane.
double Tessie emotes out. Twice as many as you would normally click for both our runners. Yep, PeenTrain does have the advantage of 1 level, which may not seem like much, but the strongest enemy in the game is coming up next. It does, I think, on average 10 damage to Jeff, so even 1 HP is another round. Another round you can survive if it chooses violence, which it may not. It has other actions it can take that aren't violence related. So if you want to practice avoiding spawn triggers at home, anyone can do this upcoming spawn trigger. If you hold down left from Jeff's position here to the side of the cliff, you'll avoid a 100% spawn trigger for a goat. Fun fact. You don't have to go all the way to the cliff, but if you want to be safe, you can. So the 3 fights that are in Jeff's way here, they're all technically skippable. The first one here is the hardest to skip. Peen went for it but missed. Kitty went right for the fight herself. So we'll see what happens. The protoplasm, it can attack, it can make itself confused, it can call for help. If it calls for help, you're probably better off waiting a couple turns until you have a decent run chance. Your run chance goes up by 10% every round, but it can also start negative, so it's one thing to keep in mind. The mad here, a little easier to get out of the way, sort of, if its movement cooperates. Sometimes it'll just get stuck, or just be in a really weird spot. Kind of like where Peen was like all the way up in that second column there. So the Mad Duck is typically not dangerous, but it can smash you. It does a lot of nonsense. It can have a lot of nonsense it can do otherwise. You want to talk about the third skip?
Yeah, the third skip here is fairly consistent, but it's all up to whether Monkey wants to come through for us. As you've seen, the movement of Bubble Monkey there can be very erratic. So setting up on the top there, once the present sees you, it's just going to come charging directly at you, and you can juke out of the way. But if Monkey stops in the middle of the path, it's just going to charge into Monkey, and then you're stuck with the fight. So both runners making it past there, and Pond Cave is going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
Both
I imagine
racers
both are
getting some
runners.
stutter action right here out of the gate.
Yeah, I imagine both our runners will be feeling the heat to stutter everything they can. PeenTrain getting a more favorable spawns here can dash through a little faster than KittyLyra.
The second
Boogey
room here
spawn.
can start to spawn the mushrooms here, which we cannot stutter past. So Peen having to backtrack there and try to despawn the mushroom to try to get into the third section here. Is able to get through that. Lyra having to do a little bit more despawning.
Yeah, Lyra playing it a little safer, but it looks like her third section here is clear, so as long as she can get through here, and she's good. Now, probably the hardest place to despawn is this next room here. There's a high chance for mushrooms and mice to get in your way, as well as in the second section here, but KittyLyra gets everything lined up perfectly. They have to do a little bit of despawning, but pretty well. The president right there has a bottle rocket, a very good pickup. Can help against the upcoming Boogey fight. The one last despawning we have to do is up at the top of the ropes here. Only mushrooms can spawn up here. And if they're in your way, then you just have to get them out of your way. That looks good for Lyra. And both our racers are through. Next, there are some cave boys out here, but they're kind of slow. So it's not too hard to get around them as long as you give them some space. And Lyra gets through, as I think Peen does too. His ISP is giving him fits. So we can't quite see all the action, but they're both in the lab.
Yep, the lag on PeenTrain's side is just her attempt at giving us a little bit more suspense in the race.
Oh boy.
But this is just the...
If it lags out when she's picking up the jar of fly honey, that's going to be very interesting. So we have here another cutscene. I think it's like a little over 2 minutes, 30 seconds, or around there. Maybe it's like 2:23 or something. I apologize, I forget offhand.
It's a solid bathroom break for anyone who needs one.
Yep, so grab some water and get ready to do a spit take for whoever wins.
Yep, this one's coming right down to the wire. We'll see if anybody's going to choose to skip the teddy bear. We do have one more safety option as we get back into Threed. But it's going to most likely come down to, does one of the kids die? Who mashes through the text fastest? Who gets the biggest roll out of the big bottle rockets? So many questions in so little time.
Yeah, I'm anticipating that the runners probably won't go for the safety bear. They are so close. I think Peen does have a slight advantage in that I think she has a skip sandwich, whereas KittyLyra does not. She did not pick up the one in the cult house, whereas cult HQ, sorry, whereas PeenTrain did on the way out. I'm pretty sure. So, excuse me. So Peen may be able to get to the tent first. There's always enemy spawns that can be in the way, and as Dark Alexander mentioned, there's a lot of RNG on the fight itself. I mean, if the tent can waste actions, it can also just snipe Jeff right away. The big bottle rocket can take out the tent in one hit, but it can also do like 200 damage, so the tent has around 590 HP. I think it's like 580 maybe. So we'll have to make up whatever the difference is between the big bottle rocket and whatever its remaining HP is with Ness and Jeff and Pollock and Cheerlead. She can pray, I guess. That's probably a little risky though, but it all comes down to how this tent fight goes. And honestly, the tent, if it takes out Paula or something, then that's actually an advantage. That's less level up text to mash through, so even like a kid getting knocked out could be beneficial.
Yes, the text of the level ups in most cases is going to take more time than the fight itself. So one kid dying can be a huge difference in time.
Alright, do we avoid the door text? Yes, we do. Here they are.
Gotta save those frames. No surprises in the graveyard. No bears.
But we have... that's gonna... Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, ah. Yeah, PeenTrain does have a skip sandwich. Takes the time to eat it. Is it going to be enough to get there first? There's a spawn in the way. Looks like PeenTrain will hit the tent first. But how many rockets will hit the tent? Will we be able to even see it on
BBR.
PeenTrain's screen?
Oh,
just got spun on PeenTrain's side. What about a rocket on Lyra? 232. Oh, good God. That's awful. PeenTrain looks like it takes out the 10 in one hit.
114 and a rockin'.
61 on a rocket. 8. The tent doesn't like freeze damage. Or, it's very resistant to freeze damage. Well, GG's to PeenTrain for making it through this very intense race. Man, 47. All going down. Hopefully this is a good hit. It was. Hey,
it's enough.
Boogey 10 is down on KittyLyra's side, but PeenTrain has finished her level ups and is out. Oh, Paula survived with 1 HP. How about that?
Yep, the old gut save ruining the time save for Lyra.
PeenTrain has finished with a racetime.gg time of 1:05:03. Congratulations, PeenTrain.
Crazy good race time for both, and just what a race.
I know, it was insanely close the entire way. One of the best races if I can remember having or even watching this season. There have been close races. Some of them have been opposing racers in a quad setting where they weren't directly against each other, but it closed out in very similar times. And I'm sure there's been other great races we've had last month. KittyLyra finishes at 1:05:45, so just a difference of just under 40 seconds.
Awoo!
Thank you, dog. Oh, we have the snake on KittyLyra's side. There's some reason snakes can sometimes spawn in Threed.
Know if I've ever seen that snake.
Yeah, they're pretty rare. I don't know really what causes it. Like, are there just spawn plates there with a snake? Just hanging around Threed for some reason?
Well, what a crazy race. Thank you all for joining us once again. Peen is going to be moving on to face off with Octo. Lyra, thank you so much for joining us in the tournament. Amazing race that you put on tonight. Unfortunately, has to go home, but it's going to be a great tournament for the rest of it. We've got our next race.
It's tomorrow.
It is tomorrow. How about that? 8 p.m. We've got Lovebird versus Brooke.
Yeah, going to be another great race. Don't miss it. So thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. Have a good night.